Hello again, and this is more peer tutoring tips and tricks, hopefully with better audio this time. Now, just to recap, the 6 things that I've found that I do in my tutoring sessions all the time are getting to know the student, minding my body language, positive acknowledgement, explain it, show it, coach it, try it, do it, explain it, and ending the session with a plan. This video is on part 3, positive acknowledgement. So positive acknowledgement is a bit of an esoteric concept, so try to stay with me here. The purpose of it is it encourages the student and it helps to prevent frustration because you and I both know how frustrating studying can be sometimes, especially when you're needing tutoring on a subject. You can get pretty frustrated with yourself and with the material. So being positive is, I think, the tutor's responsibility to stay positive even when the student gets negative, because you need to be able to provide, a solid foundation that the student can lean on and during their times of frustration. You don't want to get sucked into the frustration and then both of you end up being in a negative mood. So the way you can do that is there's 3 basic things. You want to answer in the affirmative. You want to answer with a positive answer, like, yes, you can do this, yes, yes, this. You want to replace any no that you have to say. If you have to tell the student no about something, try to rephrase it and it's about your word usage. Try to rephrase your words and answer with a yes instead of a no. Especially don't begin your sentences with the word no. Start with the word yes and tell them what is possible, tell them what they can do, tell them what they did do right, and just say, and let's leave this alone for right now. Or let's try it again instead of no, that's wrong. Also, you want to celebrate small victories with the student. That is very important of positive acknowledgement. You're acknowledging that the student did something right. Even if they got the solution wrong to a problem or the answer wrong to a problem, if some of it was right, tell them what they did right and celebrate those small victories with them. So the first part, answer in the affirmative, is pretty much don't be negative. And yes, I'm well aware of the irony of the statement, don't be negative. So it's pretty funny. But you really seriously, you want to respond with a positive outlook. As I was saying before, you don't want to both get sucked into negativity, especially if the student has a complaint or if something's going wrong with a teacher or a class. It's okay to acknowledge that and say, wow, that really sucks. But you don't want to get sucked into the negativity and then you and the student end up bad mouthing a teacher or just being in a bad mood, because then nobody's going to have a good time. And you want to have a good time with your student. You want to give the tutoring session. You want that to be something that they look forward to, not something they dread coming into school. Also, you want to redirect their frustration with a positive action statement. It's not just enough just to be positive and say, oh, well, buck up, things will be okay, because that just sounds silly and that sounds like you're being dismissive of whatever it is they're frustrated about. But what you can do is give them an action statement. Well, what are you going to do about it? Let's find a solution together. Well, why don't we do this? Or, I'd be happy to check in with you later, and why don't you talk to your teacher about that? Or, let's work on this together, and I'll totally help you with that, and I'm sure you're going to get better at it. Just as far as rearranging the words you say into saying something positive and to give them something to do about the problem, not to just sit around and complain about the problem. Now, replacing no with a form of yes, this is similar, but this even goes into if the student gets the answer wrong, you don't want to just say, no, that's wrong, or no, or no, that's incorrect. You don't want it, because that just gets discouraging, especially if the student's frustrated trying to do this and they don't really fully understand, math or chemistry or whatever it is they're studying, you don't want to frustrate them further by telling them that's wrong, that's wrong. So instead of saying no, that's wrong, focus on something positive. You know, just at least tell them, well, almost, you almost got it, or you're getting closer. You know, it's just a lot better than interrupting and saying, no, that's wrong. Now, if you're going along with a student figuring out a problem and you need them to stop so you can correct them, it's okay to interrupt them so they don't form bad habits. But instead of interrupting them saying, no, wait, that's wrong, just say, okay, hang on a minute. Let's go back and look at this really quickly. Do you see what you did there? And see, and when I said that, and at no time did I say that they're wrong or they did something bad, because you don't want the student to associate, you know, their subject with them doing something bad. It just starts a bad habit of them thinking that they're not capable enough to study the subject. So, you know, say something like, okay, hang on a minute, or wait a minute, let's go back for a second. I think we missed something. Also, when the student gets something wrong, at least just point out what they did right. If they get a math problem wrong, if the answer they got was wrong, you know, you'll have to tell them, well, that's not the answer, but you can also point out, oh, you remembered to do that this time. You remembered to carry the one. Good job. And point out all the things that they did right, that they were doing right solving the problem up until the point where they messed up. Also, you want to celebrate small victories with the student, and that ties in what I was just saying with look at what they did right about the problem, even if they got the answer wrong. You know, say, oh, look at that. You've been forgetting to carry the one and you remembered to carry the one. Good job. Or, you know, you remember how you were having such a hard time remembering this last time? Well, look, you remembered that whole thing this time. And good job, you know, or awesome, perfect. You know, and especially if they do get the problem right, then really give them a good pat on the back. Not a literal pat on the back, but, you know, just a figurative pat on the back, telling them that that was a good job and telling them that they're getting better. You can tell, you know, when they're getting better, let them know it. So, because sometimes you don't know that you're getting better at it. You're still stuck in this mentality that you can't do something. So being reminded as a tutor, reminding your student that they're getting better, to not give up, to keep on pushing forward. That is probably the most important thing of all. Thank you again, and check out more of my tutorials on YouTube at srusan2 St. Louis Community College.